have entered the premises of Core Confidence Talents. We interview inspirational artists and authors from across the world. All right. We are on the program, and I'm happy to be sitting here interviewing Robert Kool Bell. He is a member and one of the founders of Kool and the Gang. And Kool and the Gang, if you don't know, if you're too young to remember, Kool and the Gang was a 70s and 80s group that had a huge amount of hits, and it's actually now the 40th year anniversary of one of their biggest hits. So we're going to talk to Robert Bell. How you doing, Robert?
I'm wonderful. How you doing, Dennis?
I'm doing great. Glad to be here with you today.
Okay.
So, before we get into all of the things we got to talk about today with the 40-year anniversary, with your wine and the Children's Foundation, I thought we'd start out with a little bit of history. Tell us a little bit about how Kool and the Gang got started.
Okay, well, Kool and the Gang started back in 1964. At that time, we called ourselves the Jazzy Act. Of course, we were influenced by some of your great jazz artists, Freddie Hubbard, John Coltrane, Cannonball Adderley, Ron Carter. And then the name was changed to the Soul Town Band. Now, the Soul Town Band was the band for the Soul Town Review. The Soul Town Review was trying to be like the Motown Review. So we became the Soul Town Band, and we had to learn most of the Motown hits, and it was about 15 to 20 groups that we had to back up. So that went for about a year or so. And then we left that organization, and we were working in Newark, New Jersey, at a club, and a guy came up with an idea. He was also part of the Soul Town Review. He made this poster. He called it Kool and the Flames. And he asked how they would like it. Well, they was calling us a Soul Town Band, so we said, hey, that might be cool. So we became Kool and the Flames. And then we met a person by the name of Gene Red. Gene Red's father was working with James Brown. And so we had to change that name to Kool and the Gang, because James Brown had James Brown and the Famous Flames, and we didn't want to have any problems with the Godfather back then. So we just called it Kool and the Gang. The first record came out in 1969 called Kool and the Gang, and that was the beginning of Kool and the Gang.
All right. So you came out in 1969. You have tons of hits in the 70s, tons of hits in the 80s, and one of those classic hits that we're talking about is Celebration. And so I'm old enough to remember most of the hits, and I'm a pop kid, so I'm all about the pop charts, and we know that a lot of your songs went top 10, number 1. The song we're talking about, Celebration, went to number 1 in 1980. So tell us about Celebration. How did that song come about, and why is this song worth celebrating as opposed to all your other many hits?
Well, what happened with Celebration was we had a big hit with Ladies' Night in 1979. And we won 2 American Music Awards. And we were celebrating the latter part of the song of Ladies' Night is, this is your night tonight, come on, let's all celebrate tonight. So that's what we were doing. And we had just added James J.T. Taylor to the band. And things had slowed down for us in the latter part of the 70s. And so we came out with Ladies' Night and became a very big record. And my brother came up with an idea. Hey, man, I got this idea for Celebration. Okay, let's hear it. And he played the track. It had that down-home vibe to it, that country vibe, and had a little Yahoo in there, and down, 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 little country guitar. And we didn't know that Celebration was going to be such a big record. So here we are now, 40 years later, celebrating 40 years of Celebration.
Yeah. So like I said, you have tons of hits. So what makes Celebration special enough to have a 40-year anniversary, like I said, versus all your other chart toppers?
What's the song that that's been around for 40 years? From from Super Bowl games to bar mitzvahs to weddings to most recently they played Celebration when here in America when Biden announced that he's going to run and accept the nomination for the president of the United States of America. They played Celebration. So whenever there was something to celebrate, or whenever there is something to celebrate, they play Celebration. That's what makes it such a popular song.
And absolutely, it definitely is a classic. And also, they back during the time that it was out, I think they even played it when Hostages got released back in the early '80s. It just became a classic. You hear it at every barbecue. You hear that song there. It is just it's just become its own American classic right there.
I mean, for soccer games around the world, they win the game. They're playing. Celebration, World Series celebration. We can go on and on.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So is there anything special you're doing for this 40-year anniversary?
Well, we were starting off trying to do something special. And then, of course, on came the Corona blues, shut everybody down. Yeah. And nobody working. We'll have no gigs now until next year. So some of the things that we were going to do for the 40-year celebration, we can't do. Right now, I'm in lockdown in O-Town. O-Town is Orlando, Florida. I have not been able to go anywhere for 7 months. So, Dennis, maybe next year, 2021, we'll have some fun and we'll celebrate celebration. What about that?
There you go. And speaking of for celebration, that calls for some wine. Now, I'm not a huge wine person, but many people are. And so you've got a wine line coming out. Tell us more about that.
Well, actually, it's a champagne.
Champagne. Oh, pardon me. Sorry about that. Champagne.
It's the French thing. Champagne.
Champagne.
Really cool champagne. We have our deal up in Reims, France, where they do make the Dom Perignon and Moet Chandon, Cristal, and it came about. I was touring a couple of years ago in Europe, and a promoter came to me and he said, "Listen, I'm doing a champagne on the Lake Berry White, and also something with the Bee Gees." And they asked, "Well, I'd like to do something with you guys." So I said, "Well, that's great, but we wouldn't want to do a champagne while we're on tour or in concert halls because, people probably won't. They come to the concert, they like to leave with a baseball cap or a T-shirt, not a bottle of champagne." But I said, what I want to do, I would like to, I want retail. And so we tried to put something together, and I came up with the name Le Kool Champagne because I wanted to have that French flavor because it was champagne. And then when it came to America, it would come to America as a French product, but actually would be a cool thing called the Kool Champagne. So now, when it's time to celebrate, after that wedding, or winning that Super Bowl, or winning that World Series, have you a glass of the Kool Champagne.
And what would you describe the champagne to taste like?
Well, it's a Grand Cru, which I learned more about that. I mean, I have been drinking champagne off and on for years. And a Grand Cru is a grape that's one of your 15 top grapes to be a Grand Cru, okay? So it has a great taste, and I'm not trying to be biased because it's a cool champagne. You have to taste it for yourself. But, I mean, it's up there with Cristal and Dom Perignon and Veuve Clicquot. I think it holds it on.
Okay. And so go pick up some La Kool champagne for celebrations. The holiday seasons are coming up, so there's a great reason to go out and be La Kool.
Absolutely. Make sure it's ice cold, like Kool and the Gang, baby. Champagne.
Right, right. Hey, those good for romantic evenings too. Like when if you say you love somebody, you got to let them know about it. So get some of the cool champagne.
I like that, Dennis.
That's right.
Hard. That was one of our big records in England. So, you know, when you say you love somebody, you got to know, let them know.
Got to let them know about it. Yeah, I did that song, and I used to do a lot of demo tapes when I was younger, and I actually have me singing over the song there. So that stuck in my mind when I said, "Oh, I'm going to be interviewing Robert Bell." Okay, yeah, I know. I sung this song on my demo amateur album. Ooh,
Great.
yeah, there you go. All right, so now there's another big, very important thing going on, something that deserves that we lift the glass to it, and that is your Kool Kids Foundation. And I want you to tell me all about it and tell us all about it instead of me trying to cobble together the right words. So what's all this about?
Well, the idea came up from my wife, my late wife, I should say. She passed about almost 3 years ago. She wanted to do something for the kids, something to bring the music back into the schools, of course, in America. And so she came up with this idea called the Kool Kids Foundation. And so I'm carrying it on for her. I did a couple projects in the last couple of years. One was called "It's Cool to Stay in School," dealing with kids. And one of the groups that I'm quite sure you guys know about around the world, especially in London, they came to one of my concerts. We did 42 shows. It was sponsored by Coca-Cola, Cherry Coke. And they came in and said, well, we're doing great in school because, you know, one of the criteria was that you have to do good in school, you know, make sure you went to school and then play hooky from school. And he said, but we like to sing a song for you. So I said, okay. So my manager, cousin, they sang three acapellas. And that group became Color Me Bad.
Ah.
I got you. I know you remember that group, right?
Yeah, you know, I grew up, you know, when Color Me Bad was out, you know, I was a teenager. I was loving them.
Yeah. So that's what the whole thing is about, the Kool Kids Foundation. I will be pushing that 2021, doing different events for the schools and make people more aware of what my wife's dream was with the Kool Kids Foundation.
So what kind of kids are we speaking about? Just kids in general? Any age ranges, demographics? What did break it down for us?
Well, she was looking at like maybe 7, 8 years old and to about 15, 16 years old, younger kids.
Yeah.
Because when we started, I mean, Kool the Gang, we started, I was only 14 years old. And we would get the instruments in school and they have, you know, music in the schools. And I had the violin, didn't like that. I played the cello, didn't like that. I went to a horn, a mellophone. It's like a French horn. Didn't like that. So I ended up on bass guitar. So, I mean, but, you know, that's what she had in mind, you know, for kids that wanted to be musicians and had great dreams, that they'll be able to, you know, do that in the schools. So that's what we're doing.
Oh, absolutely. Okay. So, and next year you're going to be starting to do events around the Kool Kids Foundation. Is there anything, any plans ahead of time that you can mention now, or is this stuff still in the planning?
Well, there's things that are still in the planning, but we do have one event coming actually now this month, you know, in Jersey at the golf club there, Cedar Grove Golf Club. We're doing an event for Kool Kids Foundation with O.J. Anderson. If you guys are into football, you know, he won the Super Bowl. He's one of the major players with the Giants. So it's Kool Kids Foundation and the O.J. Anderson Foundation. That will be on the 21st of this month in New Jersey.
Oh, all right, right next to me. So, absolutely. So now I know this is, you've had a very long career. You've had tons of hits. You've been all over the world. but is it possible for you to boil down what was the best moment of your career and maybe the most challenging moment of your career?
Well, I guess one of the better moments was when we played in Kenya, and it was the whole concept was AIDS awareness, and the theme was no glove, no love.
No glove, no love. I remember that.
These kids
Yeah,
check themselves,
yeah.
because they're gonna do what they want to do, like we did. So,
Well, that's true. That's true.
but there was a 500,000 people, Dennis. That was the largest crowd we ever played. It was 500,000 people. So that was great. Some of the other challenges was I have to go back when we first started. We had that little record called Kool And The Gang in 1969,
Mhm.
and we played at the Apollo Theater. And we were from Jersey, and of course the Apollo's in New York. And there was this group called Willie Feaster and the Mighty Magnificents and Skip Sonny and the Pace Brothers, excuse me. And they had their act together. We went over there, man, and them guys blew us away. We understood, hey, man, we want to be in this part of the business because we're just coming out of Soul Town and the jazz thing. We got to get our act together. So that was very challenging. So we worked on it and we got our little steps together and we started getting our groove together. We met them again in a place called the Cheetah in New York. Now I'm talking about, you're talking about late 60s, early 70s. And we got them. So that was a challenge. We wanted to be able to deal with Willie Feaster one more time.
All right. All right. So a couple more questions here. So just out of curiosity, just for fun, what is your favorite Kool and the Gang song?
Man, I'm asked that all the time. That's a hard one.
I know you're asked that all the time. You probably are. I know, but I can't help it.
I gotta go with a couple. Let me start off with Hollywood Swinging.
Ah.
Hollywood Swinging. The late and great Frankie Crocker wrote that record in New York. He used to call him Hollywood Crocker. So that was a famous record for us. And then I have to go back to Ladies' Night. My wife and I was hanging out in New York a lot. We found out that, we realized that every weekend there was a Ladies' Night. And James J.T. Taylor had just joined the group. We said, hey, man, let's come up with a song called Ladies' Night. I said, wow, that'd be great. Because, every weekend there's a Ladies' Night. And that became a big record. Then, of course, Celebration.
Yeah, you gotta mention Celebration.
Celebration, look at that.
You gotta mention that.
We'll get that one. Yeah, let's Celebration.
Absolutely. Here on this program, on the programs here at Core Confidence Life, we interview a lot of different people, actors and singers. And when it comes to singers and musicians, we often interview people who are just starting out in their career, people who are unsigned, people who are independent. And so what would you say to anybody wanting to be a musician or anywhere in the music business or entertainment business? What's one word of advice you would have after all of your years of experience?
Well, I would say be serious about what you want to do and work hard at it, because it's not an easy business. You're going to have your ups and downs. We had ours, but try to be as original as you possibly can, which is sometimes hard to do because so many sound like groups. But, back in the day, when you heard the Ohio players, they were the Ohio players. When you heard the Earth, Wind and Fire or the P-Funk Mob with George Clinton, all those guys, everybody had their own sound. Today it's kind of hard. You don't know who sounded like who.
Yeah.
But just learn about the business, know about publishing and writing songs, and also try to get you a good lawyer. And the last thing I would say, pay your taxes. You gotta pay your taxes.
Pay them taxes.
Absolutely.
Think of it as a privilege to pay taxes because you're making so much. So there you go. All right. Is there any website that you've got where we can find out more about the foundation or maybe even read some more information on the champagne or anything you're doing for a celebration.
Well, it's all start off with KoolTheGang.com. That's the Kool the Gang. Then we have LeCoolChampagne.com. Those are Kool Champagne. And then we have the Kool Kids Foundation. Those are
Okay, and you can get to those two other websites by going to KoolandTheGang.com.
absolutely.
All right, Robert Kool Bell, thank you for landing on the program and telling us about all the festivities you have planned for this 40th anniversary, how you're helping the children of our country, and then after we help the children, we go get drunk off of champagne. So you're bringing it all to us today.
Absolutely.
The music, the champagne, and the children of the world.
It's getting ready for 2021. What's happening in 2020? But hey, I'm enjoying it. I mean, I'm here and I've talked to people around the world, and through social media, and that's a good thing. So, and I like to thank my fans, man, from all over the world. And, the last, say, 50-something years. We started in 1964, of course, but the record came out in 1969, of course, to celebrate now. Celebration for the 40th celebration. So thank you for supporting Kool the Gang for so many years. I thank you.
Thank you for coming on the show. Hold on just a second.
Record button menu. Press space to activate.